We move into the CFL. CFL semifinal Sunday. It's a doubleheader. The viewers yesterday were asking, Rod, are you going to be watching any of the CFL playoff games? Yeah, I'm going to watch 6 hours of it on Sunday. One game's on ESPN News. Another's on, I think, ESPN 2. Doesn't matter. I've been watching the curling trials all morning. And I also watched SportsCenter. And in the case of the Montreal-Hamilton game, you must have seen this, and I assume you watched SportsCenter as well. They asked the coach of the Tiger Cats, Orlando Steinauer, and their MVP, Simone Lawrence, their take on the comments from the Alouettes player, Patrick Levels, guaranteeing a win Sunday in the Eastern semifinal. He guaranteed a Montreal win. Orlando, and I've known him a very long time, like over 20 years, he looked incredibly uncomfortable. Did you see the clip? Like, he didn't even want to answer it. He's like, why are we talking about this? Next question. It's like, what's he supposed to say? Guarantee a loss? Like, so Patrick Levels comes out and starts mouthing off and guaranteeing a win. So what? So what? What was your take on that situation right there?
Yeah, and that's the reaction. I mean, if I'm the coach and I'm in, the press conference and you ask me, okay, Patrick Levels is guaranteed to win. What's your reaction? My reaction is they can say what they want to say. I'm going to prepare my team for the weekend. That's all you're going to get out of it. Not saying, well, he shouldn't be saying this. We actually guarantee a win. We'll see him on the field, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to get that juicy little comment. What's he supposed to say? And Orlando Steinauer is a pro. So, yeah, I can see why, just move on. But we'll see where it goes from there. But, no, you're not going to get anything out of the Ticats.
Probably would have been a good poll question. Was it a stupid thing for Patrick Levels to open his mouth and say this? Because my vote would probably be yes. Now, I've mentioned this on the air before. I'm going to mention it again. Man, time flies, but I'm thinking it was 2014 season. You remember this, when the president of the BC Lions, Dennis Skolsky, guaranteed a victory over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The BC Lions president guaranteed a victory over Saskatchewan. We all, of course, shoved the microphone in the Rider coach's face, Corey Chamberlain. Oh, how do you feel about this? Oh, no big deal. Did he say it? Did he say it? I didn't see that. No big deal at all. Riders go in and kick their ass in BC Place Stadium. After the game, I walk into the Riders locker room, and every stall had photocopied from the Vancouver province. Lions President Skolsky guarantees, highlighted. Everyone. Chain photocopied it all, taped it in everybody's stall. Oh, we don't care. Did he say it? Did he say it? So, which is fine. But when those fans got upset yesterday saying, oh, Rod, why didn't you watch the Elks news conference? Because I don't believe in what they're saying. I don't put any stock in what they say in the media. And I've given up trying to convince people that you can't go by what you see in the media. But there's an example. I don't know if Orlando Steinauer is going to photocopy that and put it up on the stalls. I'm sure everybody's aware of it. But that was a fun time in Rider history right there.
Oh, yeah. That's so cool. I mean, but that's the way it is. Like, I don't doubt that Orlando Steinauer is sitting there being like, did you see what he did? Are you going to let them walk in to your building and blah, 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 blah? Like, so it absolutely can serve as motivation, but it can serve as motivation for the Montreal Alouettes too. And he, guarantees the win. Then he can go to his locker room and say, look, now we got to go and we got to back it up. So hopefully it adds more fuel to this game in both locker rooms and we end up with a really good game.
Well, thankfully he said it from a marketing hype perspective, because if you want to sit back and look at the game notes and the season series and the numbers, you can, but that doesn't sell tickets like this does. Chris Bird, watching in King City, Ontario, writes in and he says, Levels coming out with that guarantee is a curse. Gives the other side more motivation. I'm 50-50 on that. And certainly we could spend a lot of time on that discussion. Mark Messier, famous guarantee, delivered, scored a hattie against the Devils in Game 7. There's that. Babe Ruth calling his shot, and then he did. Yep. Joe Namath, guaranteed a win and delivered. So, no, I don't necessarily believe that it's a curse, but I don't think it's necessarily smart either. JJ Voss writes in, he says, I think it's great for the league. The players trash talking and heating up the rivalry is great. I don't think the coaches should get involved in that, but it'll get more eyeballs on the screen. And that part's true. I mean, let's be honest. We're now sitting here on Wednesday, and let's talk about that Western semifinal. Calgary Stampeders at Saskatchewan Roughriders. Voted Canada's Game of the Week by our viewers of the Rod Pedersen Show. Where is the hype? Now, people are sending me screenshots of the Ticketmaster Mosaic Stadium. They're like, look at all these tickets available. I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I'll be watching the game on ESPN2. Go have fun. But I read the stats the CFL sent me, as they always do, the league-wide stats. And if you care, Darren, and I'm sure you do, the Calgary's defense is so slightly better than the Riders. It's like by 5 yards average per game. Calgary's that much. 5 yards given up or not given up, depending on how you look at it. That's how even their defenses are. And offensively, Calgary's offense is actually quite a bit better than the Saskatchewan Roughriders and getting better. And they're the hottest team in the league, winners of 6 of the last 7. So there is no hype, and Bo Levi hasn't said anything, which is fine. But it's very hard to pick a winner in this football game on Sunday. And obviously the Bet Regal odds makers would agree. Riders 1.5 point favorites. I don't know if you've looked at the matchup at all, but it's about as close to a pick 'em as you're going to get.
Well, it really is. It's so close. I mean, flip a coin. And I think what Bet Regal has done too with the odds makers is that home field. You know, you say 3.5 points, but maybe that's all they've decided is that this game's at home, and that's going to be enough of a factor. That home crowd in Saskatchewan, when they're going, especially in the fall, is good for about a point a game or a couple of points a game, like a touchdown or a field goal. It's good for something. And it's always good for a couple of penalties too, right? So maybe that's just what tipped the scales in the favor of the odds makers. But you're right. It's a pick 'em game. Flip a coin. When you wake up in the morning, go with what gut instinct you're feeling. Do you think Calgary's going to win today? Are you feeling nervous if you're a Rider fan? Or do you think the Riders are going to win? Go with your gut, because this is as close to a pick 'em as you're going to get this week in the CFL.
So we have hit on something here. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I say a team shouldn't need extra motivation for a playoff game, but it's a stupid thing to do. I just think it's a dumb thing to do. And I get it. Don Matthews, who was the winningest coach all time in the CFL, often said, if you need motivation, if you need bulletin board material to get you up for a game, you're cheating me in all the other games. And that's probably true, but it's human nature. I mean, you and I have talked about this in the past. We've been doubted with this show. It's what gets us up in the morning to shove it down everybody's throat. And furthermore, Clark Gillies, who's going to be on with us in hour 2, Big Jethro. This was the book on him, Darren. I mean, he played long before your time, but when he was a Regina Pat in the 70s and an Islander in the 70s and 80s, this was the book on him. Just let him sleep. Don't take a run at him. Don't wake him up, because the second you do, it's over. You know what I mean? So was Clark Gillies cheating you the other game? No. But sometimes it just let him sleep. You know, and Patrick Levels is not letting the Tiger Cats sleep. He's woken him up. You know, so there's the take on it. Was it a dumb thing to do? I think it probably was a dumb thing to do. Chad Bieber says, what's the over-under? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, you're right. Sometimes you just want to let him sleep, you know, and just, you know, not. Sometimes you want, you know, if he felt that his locker room needed a little push, then maybe he woke up his locker room. And you know what? He'll take the chances of waking up Hamilton's locker room. So maybe that's what was needed too. We don't know.
Ryan McCarthy, watching in Saratoga, New York, says, ugh, please don't remind me of that guarantee in 1994. It still stings. Mark Messier's potentially most famous quote, and maybe the most famous guarantee of all time, was that we will win. It's front cover of the New York Post. And he went in there and scored 3. And they won. From Jim Wagner, writing in on the 902 text line. Go ahead.
That was against New Jersey, right?
Yep.
Against Brodeur, conference semifinal or conference finals, right? So just to give you an idea, now I was a little kid at the time, and I remember watching this at my Nana's house. I can see the flowered little orange chair, you know, right by the TV that I was sitting and spinning around. That 1994 series and the little wraparound, was it Adam Graves on the wraparound between the legs of Martin Brodeur? That's my first memory of watching hockey. So Mark Messier, and I don't know if it was Messier guaranteeing the win. And then I tuned in. But whatever it was, got me watching and set off my whole life of being a hockey fan. So that's my first recollection of ever watching and following hockey. So that stuff works.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So you'd have been 7 years old because you were born in 87. Okay.
That's right.
Viewers, what was your earliest recollection of watching hockey? And if you want to throw in any other sport, you're more than welcome to. Mine, Ken Dryden, Hockey Night in Canada, Montreal Canadiens in the farmhouse living room with my dad, mom, dad, and brothers, and the Target mask of Ken Dryden, first goalie I ever loved. Anyways, the text line is open, 902-518-3033. Jim Wagner writes in and he says, good morning, RP crew. Spicy show today. Like a beauty taco time burrito. Like a beauty taco time burrito. Thanks, guys. Take care. From Jim Wagner. Bill Durrell in Cochrane, Alberta, writes in, he says, successful CFL franchises embrace their communities. Edmonton's, previous to the fired management, displayed that attitude for decades. Chris Jones is only about Chris Jones. He'll look out for himself above all else. You're not going to get an argument from me on that, but I also know, actually, I'll ask this, Darren, I'll ask you. Who was the head coach of the last Edmonton Grey Cup champion team? Can you tell me?
Chris Jones. And you know what?
Yeah.
And you know what? When it comes to that, you're not paying him to worry about the organization. You're just paying him to worry about winning football games. So unless you're going to make him the president of the team as well, and give him that responsibility, I think you just bring him in to win football games.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.